Very good evening. Our guest is my brother and friend Philip Harris, a Scottish, an Irish, and an English Freemason. He delivered Masonic speeches all around the Europe. I'm honored you accepted to be here and to share your knowledge with us. Thank you so much, Philip. The floor
Well,
is
thank
yours.
you, Claudio. Thanks very much, Claudio, and I'll bring up the shared screen and we will take it from there. Well, thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen to this presentation today. I've entitled it The Straight Path of the Freemason. This is a presentation or paper on the path of every Freemason. It is the one that you should follow in a Masonic journey. There is no terminus to it, but it is a path of discovery. It is also an opening introduction for those wishing to be Freemasons, with an outline of the expectations before you do join. It is said that it makes good men better, but I meant to emphasize that it does not change you. Years of involvement with the English judiciary as a Justice of the Peace has convinced me of this. What the path can do is help you evolve into the best man or woman that you can be. It is a philosophy of self-help and learning. As advised by the rulers of my Grand Lodge, the only Masonic secrets are the handshakes, words, tokens of the degrees. For this reason, I have omitted them from the text. As far as possible, I have not used jargon or the language of the original rituals or lectures. I hope that the person, man or woman, will be encouraged to be a better Freemason, or, if joining the craft, will be more comfortable in the experiences they will have on their path from the day they join. I would hope to bring some emphasis back to the attention to the scriptures, to its ritual, and the true 3 grand principles and catechism of the craft lectures, as found in the webofhiram.org. That's the webofhiram.org. I give thanks to the writings of W.L. Wilmshurst and my tutoring brethren who have helped me thus far, and who, in this instance, I am delighted to call my brethren, companions, stones, and guides. So where do we begin in Freemasonry? In my heart. To every man or woman entering the craft of Freemasonry, they must be prepared in their heart. To make that first step towards a fraternity is a desire for knowledge, a wish to develop oneself, and some courage is needed for that step. This may be described as a calling and perhaps a vocation. It is up to the individual to decide which it is. Freemasonry is certainly not a social club or a network or anything else for that matter. Of course, there is much of the social, dining, meetings, and fellowship, but essentially it is a philosophical organization of self-help and personal development. It should be a lifelong experience and will probably take up much of your attention the more you delve into its depths and allow the knowledge contained to lift you to that place of peace, love, harmony itself. A further requirement is a belief in a superior being. Note that this being is not defined or described in any way. It is best to consider this as a belief in a principle of order and regularity, controlling the whole existence and purpose of everything. The unmovable laws of nature are perhaps a sign of order and good management we must consider in the beginning of life and all things that exist. If you have a faith and practice this in a religion, it is important that you continue to do so. Freemasonry is not a substitute for religion, nor is it professing a deity other than you already recognize. Your faith is important, and you will be supported in your own beliefs. Be encouraged. Look to your holy book, which we will describe here as the volume of the sacred law. It contains much of what we speak of in this paper. Symbols will figure greatly in Masonic education, and you would be wise to study these as they are explained in simple terms. There is always a deeper meaning to be found in a symbol. Share with others regularly what you find in symbols. Symbols will speak deep into each of us and will mean many different things to people. And therefore, where do we begin? Well, there is such a thing as a well-known symbol. You will see it there in the middle of the page. It is my personal preferred representation of the well-known Masonic symbol, the square and compasses. The G is either for God or for geometry. Does it mark just the center of the two items? You see, there are no interpretations of the symbols, and each mean something different to different people. Symbols speak deeply into us. The representation of the compass, with its angle of 60 degrees, the set square with one of 90 degrees, can mean different things to different people. I'm sure in the many members that we have, there are some who don't really believe in a personal God. I am happy with this, as experience has shown me that professed atheists can have and have demonstrated a more moral and upright character than many believers that I have known. What they confessed was their truth, that they held on to as they saw it, which was honest. In not believing, but realizing that they were ordered and subject to the natural law. Whilst atheists are not permitted in regular Freemasonry, some constitutions in the world do. Therefore, let's consider entering a Masonic lodge. When you enter the temple, you will be challenged on your beliefs, and you will listen to a Masonic prayer. The invocation is the great architect of the universe, a general term to cover all titles of the deity that we each look to. It is wise to be clear in your mind as to what you truly believe and are content to partake in such a challenge. Do you believe in an orderly universe and the truth of the regularity of the laws of nature that caused you to exist? Can you verbally acknowledge the truth of this, what we call prayer? Are you keen to learn what we teach and guide you through? If so, you are perhaps prepared in your heart. Think on these things and be clear in your own mind. Freemasonry should be a lifelong commitment. Be sure, clear, and commit to contribute as you learn. If you find yourself in Freemasonry with no education, teaching, or commitment to the ritual and its catechism, I would suggest you move on. Our first lesson that we learn in Freemasonry is to overcome our fear, to trust the guide or teacher that we have. You are in darkness, in the absence of light or even Masonic light about you. It is usual for a child to be afraid of the dark, but what is so much worse is an adult that is afraid of the light. If this does happen, with your heart open and trusting, you may proceed. Fear for nothing. Masonic light is knowledge unfettered by prejudice and superstition. The steps are to seek a master to teach you and guide you. In humility and trust, you will demonstrate your acknowledgement of a desire for knowledge and acceptance that you are without true wealth and not yet of value to your fellow man. But Masonry will teach you how to overcome your fears and your shortfalls. In terms of Masonic philosophy, we enter the craft as irregular. That means we're in darkness, we're lost, we're out of discipline, in need and untutored. The first steps are considered symbolic of irregularity in the person, but you are not left long in this sad state. Your journey begins towards the east, where the master of the lodge sits. You are in search of a master, or in this case, a tutor or guide. Introductions of sorts take place as you perambulate in the temple. You will find a skilled tutor, a skilled artist in the craft to lead you on this straight path. One of the first lessons we learn is empathy. When your compassion for your fellow man and brethren, present it and put it to the test. From this lesson you should perceive that this means much more than a cash handout. Such gifts are full of ego, boosting a public fancy fair with certificates and medals presented. This is contrary to the volume of the sacred law that you took your obligation on, and the rule is outlined in Matthew 6, verse 4. Realistically, you will be required to succor the needs of all those who come to you. And this just isn't cash. This is to heal, to teach, to nurse, support emotionally, visit, aid, be kind by giving the gracious word of encouragement, and to help and above all show love to your fellow man. This is not onerous as you might expect. It is only to give what is within your resources and not to the detriment of your family or work. Never fall in the trap of taking public applause for such, as it should be done quietly and privately. Divested of all valuables, you will first learn to feel with the needy and not just sympathize. You will be instructed on how to strive to perfect yourself by using your conscience in all that you do and speak, by self-examination, review of what you do, how you can be better at doing it. You will chip off all those habits and careless words that cause offense and dispute. You will become more serviceable to your fellow man, a better partner, son, brother, and father. You should study here what we call the liberal arts and sciences. As by knowledge we grow as an individual, we learn, we review, we challenge ourselves, we inquire, we seek alternatives, and establish our own point of view. Ever we remember, there may be no right or wrong answer to the questions we have, but an opportunity to learn more in a balanced and fair argument and discussion. As such, your conversation will be more informed, and you will have some authority in which to share a point with others, excluding the subjects of religion and politics, which should never be raised in a lodge. You will also be taught to welcome correction. Should you ever move away from upright behavior that is expected of you, you will always maintain a meek and humble deportment with your brethren. As Master Masons, they are there to assist you. You should seek the good, exemplified in others, and ensure the encouragement of good citizenship. Be open to receive others who wish to learn from you with the same humility shown you by your teacher. There's a further step that follows. Having overcome your fear and learned to trust, what greater trust is needed when you consider the universe, the ordering principles of everything, the beginning and the end. Fear now should have become awe of the magnificence of creation. To some, this would be the deity of their personal beliefs. To others, the signature of order, harmony, and the continuance of all things. It is a big creation or existence, so we're here to enjoy it, learn, and develop ourselves. We're also taught about the winding path of life, that spiral staircase of experience and progress, as we ascend from darkness to light. No longer entering in darkness, we come into the full light of day with our brethren in this further step. Now here is the difference between the words of the title of this lecture, Strait and Strait. A strait is an undefined or a hard-to-find pathway. It winds and it twists. It is hidden, it is sometimes dark, but it is a straight path, and although it veers one way and the other, eventually it brings us to our path, where the straight path is one that's direct, and you would have been warned when you entered a temple for the first time not to rush forward, because if you rush forward to the end, think of all that you would miss along the way. Such a path, a straight path, directly there, is a diversion and can trap us in areas with no value and can be deceptive. We are to experience and learn many things observed in the passage of life. For an example, a spiral stair makes us look around, outwards to many views from the bottom to the top. There may be rooms of study or experience along the way, but we have our destiny higher up calling us from one experience to the next. We have but an allotted time on earth, so we should fill this and use our time in personal development while we can. Here we learn of our center. That balance described as the point within a circle. Being aware of the dangers of being too far in any one direction. Now what do I mean by that? Consider a circle with its 360 degrees. You can travel in any direction, but we will consider but 4. We will take the compass as an example. In the spiritual East, the place of the Master, we can be so heavenly minded to be of no earthly use to our fellow men. In the rational and physical West, we can be bound by intransience, firm in our own conviction, and unable to learn more than we see beyond our own little world. The bright light of knowledge in the noonday sun in the south can be our place of great learning, but we will then be on the straight path and being distracted from the wider world of experience and knowledge. Or, sadly, we might prefer to dwell in the darkness, the recesses of the north, to live in perpetual ignorance and experience little and know nothing. No, our path is the winding road of learning experience. In that center, the one of balance in all things. Here is where our center, we may call that the divine center, or place of balance is. We are aware of self, of others, a divine center, a place of perfect balance and order in our lives. It is fundamental in Freemasonry, and is the place where each of us shall be. The temple about you is only a metaphor for your whole being. Think about that. The temple is but a metaphor for you. The officers and members about you are your component parts. This is something you should think on and try to understand yourself. in contemplation. Your tutor should guide you in this, and no doubt you will eventually understand the principles of our craft working in you. Able to call from the rational, the spiritual, the knowledge available to us whilst being aware of ignorance and want, being nowhere but in that place of peace and harmony, continuously exist, is an ideal we will strive for on this straight path. Our place here is now to look at the more hidden mysteries of nature and science. Again, do not fear, as this inquiring mind that leads us to calculus, it taught us algebra, it got us into spaceflight, and even brought about nuclear fusion, beyond which we have deeper levels of understanding of the world, its peoples, its symbols, and the principles that keep us sound in mind and body. It taught us medicine. It taught us many great things. These hidden mysteries of nature and science. We take further instruction on a regulated life of being fair, moderate, being upright in all our dealings, ensuring clarity, with no hidden agendas or seeking to build ego. Ego is the obstacle to love of all mankind. It lacks the gracious heart and tongue that we can encourage others by. Ego has no place in our life. Selflessness is our way, and considering ourselves as the equal of all without prejudice, bias, or disdain. The love that is divine is to be cultivated, and we must learn the meaning of meekness. Now understand that meekness is never be regarded as weakness. It is being known as a resourceful and powerful person with a sword at your side, sheathed and ready, but very, very seldom needed. We are supported by our 3 grand principles that we come back to regularly in Freemasonry, and that is one of brotherly love, relief, and truth. And so here we have something we all have to face up to, the darkness of death. Here we learn that you have gathered in life is transient. All can be lost. It is our inevitable destiny. Facing up to what is often man's greatest fear is a triumph if we can overcome it. Learning how to die and give up everything. If we have applied ourselves to the tools given to us in our journey so far, we will have gathered some insight into ourselves and perhaps obtained some peace in our minds about this awful truth. For we say it is better to live respected and die regretted than to leave chaos, unhappiness, and strife. Each of us will want some hope of a future, or perhaps only that we have left the world a better place for having lived in it. Hope is assigned in the morning sky by that bright and morning star. In the end of this night time of darkness, our work was not in vain, but in order and add value. To each of us, we must hold on to faith in hope of there being more for us, but without any earthly gains. They will lie with our bones, for there is an old rhyme that goes like this. The rich and the poor, when born, are both alike, but the rich among the poor would be but for wealth and education. But when they're dead, beneath the sod, with 100 years to back it, no man on earth could tell the bones that wore the workman's jacket. The great leveler of pride, ego, and self. How can we enter this carrying guilt in our life? Look back now on the principles of nature and science. Earthly truths such as mathematics, geometry, the liberal arts and sciences. Aren't these the signatures of the divine center, the promises of more to come, that vital and immortal principle within you, the signature of a deity, the creator, the maker of all things. We're told to take time to study ourselves. What is good and what can be improved? What is wrong and what can be corrected? Can we be a better man, husband, son, brother, citizen, friend? Are you up to being all these things well? If the path so far has not touched you, and you are here confused or sorrowful, return to the beginning and start over by review and an application what was given to you in the challenges so far. Listen to the instructions, pick up the tools of your trade whilst you still have breath, and let everything within you receive instruction and make good that which you've missed so far. Once satisfied with your progress, you have an instruction to travel to the west in search of that which was lost. Now, this can take many forms. It could be you're seeking an unbeliever, the ignorant, the selfish, a denier of truth. You're looking for someone who is seeking, or one who is prepared in the heart, the lost and the needy. It's for you to bring relief. Whatever you find, bring it to the life. It might be just what you were sent to seek. Many of you in this straight path will not have had the following opportunity to review your progress near the end of your journey. You are advised to see the Excellent Master degree, or what we call the passing of the veils in some constitutions. With the following in mind, it will show you how to look back and evaluate your truth. Here is an outline of these challenges facing you before you pass on with faith, hope, and love of all. Now, having been asked at the end of your craft degrees to study that most interesting of all human studies, that of yourself, you may feel or believe you are ready to advance to become a right worshipful master or even a ruler in the craft. If that is correct, you will know much and appreciate the deeper meaning of masonry over pomp, pride, assumed privilege, and ego. So you will become a servant of the Master Mason and continue on the path. But consider the following as a review of your achievements. Have you rid yourself of evil and wrongdoing? You will have not spoken against your brother or formed a bad opinion of others by lies and half-truths. You will have held by the points of fellowship to the letter and not shamed yourself by walking out of a lodge or away from a brother, believing yourself to be pure of mind and heart. You will have worked hard to sustain the ancient principles and observances of Freemasonry to the utmost of your ability. But you are not worthy to say this, as the truth is you still hold capability of evil and wrongdoing in your hand. By throwing away a stick, it might turn to a serpent, but it's for you to pick it up. And that stick is still the serpent of evil in your hand, symbolically demonstrating you are not perfected or worthy. We must realize that we are all but human and subject to human frailty. We must remember that we are never to be perfect, but we can be better. Do you consider yourself to be free of transgression, trespass, rebellion, and selfishness? Well, put your hand on your heart and see away if it comes back as pure as snow. It might be white, but it is white with leprosy, a sure symbol of sinfulness and trespass. Here you learn that you carry this with you like evil whilst you still live. Here you will realize that truthfully you are no better than the worst offender or criminal. You are only human, you are only a man or woman, but you are on the straight path the straight path of Freemasonry? Are you capable of evil still, although you have rejected or even thrown it away? Are you free of rebellion, transgression, trespass against the state, others, or even your brethren? Are you capable of progressing to a better existence, having shed the trappings of materialism and mammon? Now, are you pouring forgiveness out on those who have trespassed against you? As you cannot forgive yourself, you can forgive others who are not party to your privileges of Freemason. In forgiving others by pouring water of cleansing on them, you will find forgiveness for yourself. To find the following: you are now returned to the white apron you were initiated in, that badge of innocence and the bond of friendship. Who will free you from this impurity? Well, go back to the beginning whilst you still can and review your entire Masonic career. If you accept these truths, you cannot find forgiveness. But you can forgive those who trespass against you. Take up that water of forgiveness and pour it on others. If you are Mason enough to do that, you will find forgiveness and acceptance. You will now find where you started off in Masonry, when you were invested with that white apron, more ancient than golden fleece and Roman eagle, more honourable than Star Garter or any other order in existence. It is a badge of innocence and a bond of friendship. You are at another beginning. What lies beyond is up to you. It would be impossible for me to describe to any uninitiated person what follows. Suffice to say, in harmony with God, a realization of your mortality and love that surpasses all understanding lies beyond that veil. Now, for those of you who are seeking or looking for a tutor or a lodge, if you heed my advice and review your Masonic career, you will learn so much more and achieve that place no man can give you. Or if you are not a Freemason, you might wish to seek a lodge, and I wish to point you to a lodge that practices tutoring or has an education structure, discussion groups, open dialogue, or freedom of expression without criticism. It is up to you to find it. And to help you, please consider the following. You will need a structure of tutoring, not mentoring, but positive learning from skilled masters. You need opportunity to ask questions and get answers that satisfy your inquiry. Never be fobbed off with half-truths. You need a program of learning for the ritual, a program of visitation, to attend lodge's instruction, some recommended reading, teaching with no fanfares of charity, and any giving being done in secret. Look for a definition of Freemasonry like a philosophical order of self-improvement to enable us to be better members of society, families and workplace, ensuring the world is a better place for having lived in it for a time. Avoid any definition that Masonry is a charity. See that the 3 grand principles are in evidence, that is brotherly love, relief and truth. Above all, do not be rushed into choose or be pushed into membership. Find what is right for you. Thank you for listening to my short discourse. And that's my name. I prefer to be called Brother Philip. And I will now hand back to Claudia. Thank you very much, Claudia.
No, Philip, I thank you, and I consider this presentation should be listened by many rulers of the craft from various countries. I met a lot of Freemasons all around the world, and I can say this: they should listen
Thank
to
you.
your presentation. Really.
Thanks very much, Claudio. I
No,
do
I thank you,
appreciate
Philip.
that.
We
Yeah.
thank you for your lesson, for your
Thank you.
presentation, and your way to present and to express what you feel. Very, very touchable. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Well, I
again.
hope people who do read it or listen to it indeed encourage others to and take it on board, because nothing can surpass the wonders of Freemasonry that I've found in recent years. The people I've met, the places I've visited, the fellowship worldwide, and we can only realize that Masonry is truly universal, our hearts shared, where we love one another. And where else can you find that in any such organization? You can't.
Correct.
So I'm all for it.
Correct. Wow. Thank you again, Philip, for your time and for
My
your
pleasure.
dedication to Masonry. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I will stop recording now.